everyone, and welcome back to the Red Brick House. Today I'm bringing you a video that is an idea to help you use up your leftover yarn. Because if you're like me, you have a lot of yarn laying around your house. And sometimes that yarn can get a little out of control, if you know what I mean, or sometimes you just can't find a place to put it all. And so my solution to that problem is just to use it. Use it up. You do something with it. And so today, that's what I'm doing. I am making some hand towels. Now I had quite a bit of yarn left over from the teddy bear project that I did recently, where I knitted a little cute little bear, well it was a big bear, for my little great niece. And I kind of overbought too much yarn for that project because when I went to the store to purchase it, there weren't that many skeins there. And so I was kind of afraid that if I didn't have enough, that I might not be able to get more when I went back to the store because I was afraid it would be all gone. And so I kind of bought a little too much. So I had about 2 and maybe 2/3 of a skein left over from that bear. And so I thought, well, hey, I'll just make some hand towels. And so another thing to think about when you're making hand towels or dishcloths is it might be a great time to try out new knit stitches. And so I don't know if you're like me, but I kind of get in this rut of just using stockinette stitch for everything, you know, because I make a lot of hats and socks, and I made a sweater for my daughter, and so I use a lot of stockinette stitch. But sometimes I want to try something new. I want to learn something new. And so I think hand towels are a great way to try something new. And so that's what I've done. So I'm going to cut to the chase and I'm going to show you what I have created here. Okay, so the first one I have here, this is a seed stitch. And it has created, I'll bring it up close so you can see. It has created this lovely little nubby texture here that I just love. It's I think this would be perfect for dishcloths. I will probably make some in the future. But let me tell you how I did this. In case you're not familiar with seed stitch, I will give you a little overview. So to do a seed stitch, you need an odd number of a stitch count. So however wide you want it to be, you just need to have an odd number. Any odd number is fine. And then all you do is after you cast on your first row, you will just start with a knit stitch and you will knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl all the way across. And you should end with a knit stitch because you have an uneven amount of stitches. You have an odd number of stitches. And so then you'll just turn your work and you'll do the same thing. You'll knit, purl, knit, purl. So you're always going to start with a knit stitch and end with a knit stitch. If you had an even number of stitches, you would have a 1-by-1 rib. But because you have an odd number, your stitches are going to be opposite each other. So when you have a rib, you would have a knit stitch on top of a knit stitch on top of a knit stitch, and then the next one you would have a purl on top of a purl on top of a purl. But because you have this, they're offset in this situation. So you would have a knit stitch and a purl stitch and a knit stitch and a purl stitch. And that's what gives you this nubby texture like this. And I just love it. It's such a good texture. I don't know how to explain it, but I loved it. And it was so easy. It was just like making a rib. It's just you have an odd number of stitches, so the stitches don't line up. So that was excellent. I loved that one. And then the other one I did, I only made 2 so far. I may make more. This one, do I have it the right way? I don't have it the right way. There we go. This one is a waffle stitch. Let me move this one out of the way. And I'm sure you're familiar with a waffle stitch, but I love these waffle stitch, you know, hand towels and dishcloths. I've seen them in, you know, different craft fairs and things for sale. And I was like, I want to learn how to make that stitch. And I don't know why I haven't learned it before, because it's not too terribly hard. It is more challenging than the seed stitch, definitely, because the waffle stitch has a 4-row repeat. And so when you do the waffle stitch, your first row, you will need, well, first of all, when you cast on, you will need a stitch count that is a multiple of 3 plus 1 more. So any number that you can divide by 3 and get an even amount, plus 1 more stitch. So multiple of 3 plus 1. And then on your first row, you will knit the first stitch, and then you will do a sequence of purl, purl, knit, purl, purl, knit. And you will continue to do purl, purl, knit until you get to the end of your row. And then that's the first row. So I'll repeat it again. You knit the first stitch, and then you do purl, purl, knit, purl, purl, knit, all the way to the end. And then you'll turn it around, and on the second row, you're just going to do the opposite. You're going to purl the first stitch, and you're going to do a sequence of knit, knit, purl, knit, knit, purl. So you're going to do that on the second row. And then on the third row is really simple. You just knit all the way across. Nothing to it, just knit it across. And then the fourth row, the last one, you will purl all the way across. And then that's it. That's the end of the 4-row repeat. And then you would just start over with row 1 again until you get the item as long as you want. It didn't have to be a hand towel. It could be a scarf, or it could be a blanket. It could be a baby blanket. It could be anything. And so it's not that difficult, but it does take some mindfulness. This is not, for me at least, this is not one of those kind of stitch work where you can just listen to a podcast or listen to a book or some music or talk to friends while you're doing this, because sorry, I moved you. I tried that in the car and I totally messed it up. I don't know what happened, but this waffle stitch has a right side and a wrong side. And when I was working on it in the car, my right side became a wrong side somehow or another. I must have left out a row somewhere. Or something. So you do have to concentrate a little bit on what you're doing. And so this is the back side, which I think it's nice too. I think it's kind of not really ribbed, but kind of. It's just really interesting. Like people call this the back side. It's not the waffle stitch side, but it's still really pretty. So I can't wait to use these. And they're not that big. I didn't make them too terribly big, but I may make some more. I think the waffle stitch would look really pretty with a single colored yarn, because I don't know, I think the squares would stand out better. I think this yarn's very busy for this type of knit. I don't know. Let me know what you think. Sometimes I like to do these really variegated yarns and lots of colorful yarns. I like to use those when I am doing stockinette stitch. And then I like to use more of a plain yarn when I'm trying to showcase the stitch work. But that's just me. Everybody can do their crafts the way that they want. You feel free to do it however you want. But I'm just showing you how this turned out. I still like it, even though I think it's kind of busy with the stitch work. To me, to my eyes, it's a little busy with the stitch work and the colors too. But take a look at how the colors look different. I'm just going to fold it over like this, so you can see. And then I'm going to take this one and fold it over. And look at how, I use the same yarn, but look at how the coloring's a little bit different. So to me, this is bright and colorful, and you do kind of see some striping here. But to me, this is more of a, I don't know, you just kind of see the stripe work in the color of the yarn different on this one than you do on this one. I always think that's so interesting. It's just, the possibilities when you're knitting and crocheting and weaving, whatever you're doing, it's really interesting when you do different patterns of how things can turn out differently. So the possibilities are endless, and I think that's what I love about these kind of crafts, So that's what I have for you today. I hope you're enjoying these videos that I'm making. I hope maybe I said something helpful in here to you. If you would like for me to do a tutorial on either one of these, I would be glad to do that. I have a little bit of footage of me working on them that I might just tack on to the end of this video. And that's it for today, guys. I hope you're having a wonderful day or evening or morning, whatever time you're watching this. And I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.